Alright, so I stopped in at the Maverick to tank her up. Only burnt 7.7 gallons in 2 days. That ain't bad. And got myself a bladder buster for free because I was awarded on my punch card. And we're ready to move on out to our adventure, right? This Maverick, the first stop of adventure. Well, technically my first stop today was Richie Brothers, but we'll say Maverick, my second stop to adventure. Dun dun dun. All right, let's get on the road again. On the road again. I got so many miles now on this oil change. I got what, another 1,500 miles on this oil change. Only been a couple weeks, so it's a close quarter. Look at my nostrils. Did I do a good job trimming my nose hairs? The diesel is a dieselin', and the transmission selector says drive. All right, welcome back. I know it's windy. Sorry about that, but I do not control Mother Nature. So I brush my teeth and I feel the toothpaste drying on my lips. So the Richie Brothers auction was on the 21st, and I took the day off from work so I can sit there and focus on what I was doing. And they didn't cancel it, but they extended it until the 25th. So I was kind of disappointed. I lost 8 hours of vacation time that I burned. And so on the 25th, I entered the auction and I made some purchases. So I'm back up at the property, and I have to do a little walk around on the Beast to make sure that all the oils are serviced, the tires got pressure in it, I got antifreeze, I got fuel, just so I don't run anything low on oil. And if I see any problems, I can fix them before I use the machine, because you don't want to be operating any equipment that's not serviced correctly, right? We all know that, because otherwise it just causes more aggravations and more delays, and I've had enough delays already. So let's do a little quick walk around on the Beast, and let's take a look at what's going on here. All right, so my fuel cap is still locked. My fuel gauge is almost full. My tires look dirty. Let's take a look and make sure there's no snakes coming out to warm themselves here. All right. So yesterday I checked the tire pressure, and they were at 50 pounds or 45 pounds. And I think the front ones were at 50, and that's because they were in the sun for a long time before they hit the back. So here's the transmission oil. Clean that up. I got to check that when it's running and warmed up on a level surface. And right now I'm not on a level surface, but I'm going to check it anyway, just to make sure there's oil in there. Although I don't see any transmission fluid leaks. Right, so we got no hydraulic oil leaks, nothing. Everything looks hunky-dory here. All right. There's my brake reservoir repaired, and it's holding tight. All right, so here's where you check the tire pressure, and it's it has a large Schrader valve. So I had to go buy a large Schrader valve adapter, which was easy peasy. Alright, so I have no leaks on the cylinder here, I have no leaks on the cylinder there. Everything looks good. The spiders are having a blast. Something, no, it's not. It looks like something took a deuce over there, but it's probably just grease squeezing out. Plenty of dirt. It's the data tag for the bucket. Alright. So I went to the fabricator and asked them to make me 2 new hooks. Guy told me a couple weeks. I told him, okay, not a problem. But it's been a couple weeks. He hasn't called me back, and I can't remember where I put the receipt with the phone number on it. So I'm gonna have to drive over to his place next week and see what's going on. So I contacted some guy online. I forgot the name of the business, for some fangs. I want to put some teeth on the bucket because I feel that I'm having a problem lifting up the biscuits. They don't seem to want to get in the bucket. They want to be pushed, and then I have to scoop down a little lower, and then when I scoop down a little lower, I hit another biscuit, and then I got to scoop down a little lower, and the next thing you know, I'm digging a hole to China. And I don't want to go to China. I just want to scrape the surface. So the guy, of course, he emailed me back. He says, oh, what's the OEM part number? All right. So I looked at the IPC that I have for the machine, and in the front of the IPC, it has a 3-page list of all the bucket part numbers and what type of teeth go on the bucket. And guess what? My bucket part number is not on the list. So I looked at the IPC image, and it shows that I have that bucket part number, and the bucket matches what the IPC shows. So I wrote down the bucket part number, the cutting edge part number, and it says on that bucket IPC to go to page 52.4. Well, guess what? I don't have page 52.4. So I made a measurement of the holes, how many blades, how many teeth I need, and I emailed the guy back. Hopefully he can match something up. If not, I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure something out. I'll have to call Terex themselves and see if they can assist me with the correct fangs. So everything looks pretty good here. So here's the sealant plug I made to keep the mouse out. I gotta cut that off. There's no need to have that flapping around in the wind. That was just used as a bottom so the sealant wouldn't drip out until it hardened. Looking that way. Looking good. Tires are looking good. So yesterday well 2 days ago actually, when I was up here, I did the service check, and I noticed that the alternator belts were a little stretched, and I went to go get a belt because you can actually spin the alternator with the belts on and tight on the old ones, and that's no good. And they were stretched. There was no more adjustment left on them. And assuming that's because engine oil that small engine oil leak I got is probably spraying on the belts. And they were cheap Dayco belts. If you look at my other website with the documentation of the bed no breakfast, you'll know that the Dayco belt and the Dayco company left me hanging in Kingman, Arizona on I-40 with only 1,500 miles on the belt. So I'm not a big fan of them. I had a buddy of mine that had an auto parts store, and when I called him up and I told him, he says, "Oh yeah, dude, we told the Dayco guy to get out of our shop because the belts are no good." So apparently the ring's true, but that's my opinion. You do what you got to do. All right, I gotta climb up on the machine here. Let me put the camera down, and the sun's facing the wrong way, of course. Oh, maybe I don't have to put the camera down. Let me climb up one-handed here. Oh, oh no, I can't do it. I can't do it. Can't do it. Ooh, all right. You always want to wipe the dust off the top of the stick as much as possible, because you don't want that dropping in there if it doesn't have to. Put the camera down here. It's way high. It's because I'm on a hill. I'm not gonna wipe it with this dirty towel. But there's oil in there. It's way high. I'm happy. I'm happy. All right, let's so there's one belt that's new. Let's see, how's that look? I can't see. Sun's in my eyes. Alright, so here's the alternator, right? And this, if you can spin that with the belts on, that means they're loose. So that's not loose because I put the new one on there. But so it has a redundancy. It has two belts, and I'm gonna put the other belt on. And of course my GoPro is showing that the camera is red already. So how long is that? That's what, 12 minutes worth of video, and I already got a red camera. All right, I'm gonna shut it off here, and all right, I got the belt on. Now it's just a matter of tightening it. And so I need a pry bar, and so here's my pry bar. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I gotta improvise. Hoorah! Let's see. Oh, we get the camera there. Right, there we go. Look at that. That's spectacular. I need to put the camera down here and give you a good view. How's that? I don't know. Can we see? See if I can do this without falling off the edge. Precipice of disaster here. I got my knees on the edge of the battery box. Let me move this over a little bit here. Let's see if I Okay, so I don't know. How good's your attention to detail? See, that belt is higher than that belt, right? Same part number, right? The difference is the 11 AV number here and the SKU number, right? So I told that clown behind the counter, I said, dude, these are different from the other one I have. What's the difference? Well, I put in the number and I clicked the button and I said, do me a favor, go measure it, right? Bring the tool up front here so we can measure it, so I can see what's going on, right? So he goes in the back, comes back, says, oh, it's 400 something millimeters. Millimeters. What country are we in? We're not in the European zone. We're in America. How many inches is it? When you go to a who's got a bigger dick contest, right? They don't say how many millimeters is it. It's how many inches you got. Whip it out. Let's see. Right? So now, I don't know, right? So now I got two different types of belts on there. Does it make a difference? Probably not. But don't you want the same consistency, right? So I don't know. Could that be I ran this belt for 3 hours yesterday and it wore in? I doubt it. So anyways, that's my rant for the day. Talk to you guys later. Let's check the antifreeze. And we're good. Okay. Alright, so no leaks on the fuel filters, which is good. Nothing up on top. Fan doesn't look wet, so I'm not blowing too much oil. It's some kind of seep up in the front there, but we could live with that. All right, let's climb on the other side and take a look at the hydraulics and finish up the user check, the daily user check. But since I don't drive it daily, I do it when I can, right? All right. So there's hydraulic oil, and that's good. It's a little high, but what's going to happen is when I fire it up, it's going to push hydraulic fluid into the brake accumulator, and it'll hold some in the brake accumulator, so that'll bring the quantity down, which is normal. And that's the brake accumulator valve that I replaced that O-ring on. That's what that does. That ports the fluid into the accumulator, and when the truck is off, it releases the oil back into the tank. So here's the rear brake reservoir. I opened that up yesterday and I looked at it. It's halfway, just like the front one is halfway. But so let's take a look in here. Everything looks all right. On a daily user check, you wouldn't open the air cleaner and pull the air cleaner out. That's something you do on a service check. All right. Keep that from flopping around in the wind. On this side, everything looks dry on this side. Plenty of dust, right? Plenty of dust. Plenty of dust. Everything looks all right. That's my my homemade ether port, because in the winter it has a hard time cranking. So give it a little squirt, fires right up. Everything is looking spectacular. No, I got a loose shroud bolt here, but I think that's gonna have to get cut off. I tried to tighten it once before, and it wouldn't tighten up. Sprayed some oil on it for a couple days, let it soak, but there's something wrong with that nut and bolt combination. But that's nothing to hold us up from running the machine. All right. Okay, so my quick and dirty daily user check.